Gary, round 18 against Footscray, and I mean, what can we say here? A late free kick to Tom Boyd meant the Dogs escaped with a 3-point win after we put in what can only be described as a fantastic effort and probably didn't even deserve to lose in the end.
No, I didn't think so, Sam. Obviously, it was our best performance in a whole lot of areas for quite some time, and it was a significant shift in what we'd actually been putting out there in relation to time of really good play. And yeah, we all looked at that last little bit there with a minute and a half to go, and of course we were, as you said, in front. And okay, young Guy Dixon's going to have to learn a little bit of a harsh lesson, and we probably had both Scotty Clark and also Jordan Lyle there to help him out anyway, so there was no need really for him to engage. But we look at that in isolation, and there was probably moments throughout the course of the match which, again, we just couldn't quite give ourselves a great enough ability, I guess, to get some breathing space on Footscray. And you know they're always going to come back, they're last year's premiers anyway, so we could talk about some misses directly in front in really crucial moments of the game. So there are little things that went missing that could have given us maybe a 3 or 4 goal break, and of course then we get what we're so desperately wanting, and that's a win.
So overall, it could be said that the effort given on Saturday was probably only being matched by the Williamstown game in round 4. And John Lettieri has asked via Twitter as part of Ask Ayresy, what was the message he gave to the players after the game, because it was very noticeable how disappointed they were that they'd let that one slip.
Yeah, and that's true. And look, John, my message was that I was extremely proud of their performance on the day. And when you're obviously playing against a full-time alignment, it says a fair bit about the ability mentally to actually play the game. And I thought that was really important for us. There was a good mood before the game. We out-tackled Footscray, and I think we were very positive in all the key areas of the game except just on the scoreboard. So their ability to work together, their ability to work hard for one another, I thought they were aggressive in all manners of what we need them to be in relation to how the game is played, in relation to what we do when we don't have the ball. So it was really one of real proud feeling amongst the group, and Toby Pimwell, our captain, echoed that as well. But of course then the question was asked, which we didn't get a response back, was that if we brought that to the table 6 weeks ago, we wouldn't find ourselves in this particular situation. So it says a lot about the mental toughness of a group, I think. And really now we've got to say, well, that was last Saturday and extremely disappointed, but we've got to take that disappointment out on Frankston this week and give ourselves a win.
So what does this now mean for your coaching mindset for the last 2 games? I mean, as you said, you're just looking for a win after the tough last 6 or 7 weeks, but does it make it now a little bit easier to narrow your focus in terms of playing more of the younger guys on the side, or continuing to try and expose guys who want to be a part of the club again moving forward into next season?
Yeah, look, Sam, I think it's a bit of all that. Now, obviously, our reserves had a pretty ordinary game against Coburg, and from all reports, because we're obviously down at Whitten Oval, that Coburg came out and jumped them, and I think it was 1 inside 50 in the first quarter, and the score was about 44 to 1 point, I think, at quarter time. So that's not the start that you want. So really, from all accounts too, there wasn't a lot of really good quality that was played in that particular game. So the guys that played in my senior team on Saturday, part of the thought after the game was, well, do we reward these guys from the effort that they put in and show that we've got some faith in them? And of course I'll back them if they play like that every week, obviously. So we'll look at what the outcome is. We've got to see our injury list, see who's available. I don't really think there's too much that's going to play in the next fortnight anyway as far as injuries go. We had Will Johnson, who pulled up sore with a calf on Thursday, and Brandon Hayes didn't play because he was sore and he's been sick. So they could be 2 possibilities to come back in line for selection. What we do in relation to promotion and demotion, I'll work that out during the week, but I think we've seen what we're capable of with the group that we've actually got on Saturday, so there's probably more a thought about rewarding them rather than making too many changes.
And probably remiss of us just to try and keep it positive again, to just touch on some of the standout individual performances to come out of Saturday's game. I thought Damien Mercedes and Riley Hogan in particular were 2 that really stood out.
There's no doubt about that. Damien probably played his first game and best game for the year, really. So all the things that we know he's capable of, and that was some of the form that we saw from him last year. And look, Riley Hogan's been a bit of a revelation. You know, I was so impressed with his run down on the sort of Gordon Street side there, where he probably had to run past 2 Footscray players to actually get to the 3rd Footscray player to dispossess him. So we think Riley's got something to offer us for the future. I thought Kyle Dove's ability to back up after his first game the week before was pretty important for him and obviously what we think going forward. I thought Zach Keogh certainly tried pretty hard. He's got some things that we need to work with and that he'll get better at. And Khan Heratuku in the ruck was also better, I thought, in relation to his output. So even Caleb Veering, who we used a little bit as a swingman, he came into the side, played as that aggressive little mid-sized forward, had a couple of shots on goal and had to go back and do a job when we wanted to get a little bit more flexibility when Nathan Batsanis went off the ground. So there's certainly some really good signs there. But obviously, as we know, from a coaching point of view, it's about sustainability. So we'll look at what we can do the next 2 weeks. The primary focus is about winning, and we've certainly got to try and get 2 more wins before the season finishes, finish off on a good note. We'll do a review about what we think we need to right across the board, because I'm totally disappointed in what we've put out there for the year. There are some pretty easy identifiable reasons, but having said all that, if we showed that on Saturday, we should have been showing that over the last couple of months as well.
So just quickly to finish, obviously on behalf of the entire club, our condolences on Saturday's result, but we've got our final home game of 2015 against Frankston coming up on Saturday, and obviously again encourage all supporters to get along.
Most definitely, and as you said, it is our last home and away game for season 2015, and we've certainly got to give our loyal and wonderful supporters a little bit of joy come the end of the season. It's going to be pretty different if I've got to hang up the clipboard during that month of September. I haven't had to do that for quite some time, but again, there's always reasons, and of course we've got to make sure that we identify and then rectify going into pre-season 2015 and 16.
Gary, thanks for your time on Borough TV.
Thanks, Sam.